Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I wanted to give you an update on my plant room. So this past weekend, I went a little bit crazy in here. It started off me coming in here just to water, and you know how that goes. Sometimes it turns into a lot more than watering. I was rearranging. I decided to go ahead and chop some plants, and I needed to clean. It had been a while. I did a spider mite treatment on Michelizziana. It ended up being like way longer than I anticipated. I started Saturday afternoon and I did about half of my plant room, and then I finished up the other half on Sunday. So I figured I could just share with you everything that I did. The only thing that I still have in here that's annoying me is this huge table that's housing a lot of the Monstera propagations. I'm slowly working on potting them up. It's just, I haven't really had time to do a lot of potting up lately. Yeah, I have a lot of props here on the table along with other props from some plants that I chopped this weekend. So eventually all those will make their way into the other room. That room right there. And I have a couple of propagation bins that will eventually make their way in there. I did mention in my last houseplant walkthrough that I'm going to be doing a ton of propagating. So I'll probably take you along through some of that. Like I said, I already started and I chopped, I chopped some plants. But I have a lot to do in here, like a lot of cutting back, propagating, a lot more rearranging. And I have plants that are in that room that I would like to transition back in here. I have plants in the Rhode cabinet and I have a bin of plants that used to be growing. I like some of them, I keep like, do I want to hang on to this? Do I want to officially downsize it? And since I can't make up my mind, I'm just going to put it back in here and let it grow and see what happens. So I'm going to go ahead and get this camera flipped around. Sorry for the lighting too. It is really gloomy. It's supposed to rain here in a little bit. I was like, yesterday it was so nice and sunny, and I like wanted to film, but I was like packing orders yesterday and I couldn't because it took me longer than I thought. And so I'm like, it's okay, I'll just film tomorrow morning. And of course the weather's a bit gloomy, but that's okay. I have my ring light, but sometimes it doesn't really give off like a good amount of light when it's so gloomy. So hopefully the lighting's okay. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. So we'll go ahead and get started, like I said, with the cabinet. All right, so the IKEA cabinet looks actually a lot different. I took all the big plants out. I had my alocasia venom in here. I had my alocasia poly. I had a huge bambino, and there was one other plant that I took out. I'm trying to remember what it was. Oh, my begonia. I had my pink maculata in here on the bottom. So all those big plants are out, and it looks so much more clean and open, and I don't know, I love the way that it looks now, especially with the acrylics, because we put those in not too long ago. And so this is mostly, I would say, an alocasia cabinet. Like 90% of the plants in here now are alocasia. And I have a few random propagations, and I have a monstera, a philo, and yeah, it's pretty much all alocasia now. And also on the top of the cabinet, I added a clip light, and I also added one where the alocasia Amazonicas are on the side of the cabinet. The alocasia cuprea that I have up here, it's actually still in stratum and perlite. It's a propagation because I chopped her. She was really big, and I got like 10 corms off of her. And so I have 3 stumps in here, like 3 stems. You can see all those roots. So I do have like quite a few alocasia chores to do. So maybe I'll film like an alocasia care day. We can tackle some stuff and get her potted up. I think what I want to do with her is only pot 2 of the stems back up into pond, because I feel like if I add the 3rd one, it'll be too crowded. So I think what I'll do with the 3rd one is just maybe list it as a bigger specimen in my shop whenever I go to do this. But yeah, she's growing in some new leaves. I have this one that's kind of curled. But yeah, there's 3 separate vines in here, and I definitely need to get her potted. And the caprea isn't staying up there. She's actually going to go back to the other shelf, because that's where she was over here, because that philodendron tortum, the huge tortum in that corner, is actually going to go out on the patio in the spring. The leaves are massive. I actually took all the plants. That's another thing I didn't tell you. I took every plant in here to the shower. I hosed it off. And like I said, I gave Nicolitiana a spider mite treatment. I actually used a miticide because I was just so sick of finding spider mites popping back up on her. I'm gonna do another treatment this weekend when I water in here, and hopefully that will eradicate them. Because normally I don't like to use pesticides and stuff, but I just couldn't stand it. And she's so big, it's just so hard sometimes to take these big plants out of here. But yeah, it was just time. I was so sick of them and I didn't want them spreading. So yeah, I'll go over there and show you her here in a little bit. But yeah, Tortum will go out on the patio in the spring and I'll put Capria in her spot. And so that clip light is adding a little bit light. And then these two alocasia I have had in here and they weren't really getting any additional light. So they're not really like the happiest alocasia. I have a pink dragon aria right here that I was thinking about downsizing, but I'm not sure yet. And then I have a Watsoniana. So now that I have more light here, like a little bit more, hopefully they'll grow and do a little bit better, but I probably won't leave these up here because my plan that I had envisioned was putting my philodendron patriciae up here once it actually starts growing. And she's actually in the cabinet right here, back in that corner. I love the cabinet now. It's so much more spacious. Although I did really like having Venom in here and I'm a little worried that it's going to decline now that it's out of the cabinet, but I hope not. So far so good. But it's crazy. I had that massive alocasia like stuffed in here. I may have to turn the grow lights off in order for you to see, but hopefully not. So yeah, philodendron patriciae is right here. She's going to give me a new leaf. And this I got as a tiny little plant. I believe this is probably a tissue culture. So it's taken a bit to settle in and actually stabilize. And I feel like now that I think I've had her probably 6 months or something close to that. She's starting to size up and grow a little bit more steady. So yeah, once she gets a little bit bigger, which probably after this leaf, I might transition her out of the cabinet. And I have a Longaloba purple. This is just a corm that I had from my mother plant. So she is in here. She is a finicky alocasia. I have the mother and my Rudsta in the other room. So hopefully this one does well. And then I actually have a thing of corms right here that these are from my Albo dragon scale. I will eventually get those potted, but I just have a little bit of water in there with those. Kind of like a puddle method. I don't really use that method, so I will get those potted up. And then Monstera bulbasaur here, I recently did an update on this one, and I'm gonna have to water this one, I feel like twice a week now. I feel like I need to add some water, but from the video, I told you she might put a new leaf out soon and I have a growth point. We had taken the extra humidity dome off and I was worried she's gonna dry out a lot quicker. So yeah, I'll add some water in there. And then I have a few alocasia that were in the shop room that I moved in here this weekend. This was one of them. This is the pseudo sanderiana, or the pink pseudo. And this was one that actually did not do well. While we were gone on our trip, she went dry. I didn't realize she went like extremely dry and she lost all of her leaves. Like this one is completely yellow and this is a new one. The variegation hasn't really burned in. I don't really see a lot of variegation on that one, but she is like stabilized now and I can keep a better eye on her here in the cabinet. And then I have Maharani Albo in here. This is the newest leaf. They come in like this creamy white and then they harden off to like a bright stark white. She's so pretty. I haven't gotten corms yet. I do have a couple like small ones starting. So hopefully I can get some in a few more months. I'll probably take her out and check. She's been a little bit slow to size up. I believe I got her in June, so I've had her for like 6 months or so, but I feel like the latest leaf definitely did jump up in size a little bit. But yeah, I love her. And then I have a couple pink black velvet alocasia. I did these in December. I like cut some chunks off of my mother plant and that one is sprouting right there, but the other one has not sprouted yet. But I have those ajarred a little bit because they were starting to mold and I just feel like they needed more airflow. I honestly should probably just poke some holes, but I just decided to tape them here. Probably not the best setup for those. Coming down to like these middle two shelves, Yeah, this is pretty much all alocasia. These were all in my shop room, so those are all in here now. Well, minus this pink capria there. I have several caprias. I have latte. I have a pink mint that I'm growing back. I have a couple of like pink ones. And then this is the Heterophylla metallic blue. This is the newest leaf. That is so pretty. So they're all gonna hang out now here in the cabinet. And then this was a corm. It sprouted its first leaf. I bought this kind of randomly. This is Azalani pink, and that first leaf is so stunning. I think it is, yeah, it is actually working on a new one. Right there. So that looks to be very variegated. I need to actually take this lid off so it can actually grow or poke some holes, but I just have that covered because the stratum cups like that dry out very fast. And I have a couple of those on risers so that they're a little bit closer to the grow light there. This row here, I have a couple shans. I have my pink and then the Aria one. And then I have one of my Bambino that I chopped. I have it in a thing of stratum. So once that actually I could probably pop that up soon because I did that at the same time I did my Alocasia cuprea. I have one of my Fridex here. I had this one in soil, but I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna grow it in ponds. So I took it out of soil. It was on the other shelf behind me. And so I just did that this weekend. So that'll stay in stratum for a while. And then I have one of the pink black velvets over here. And then this here, I actually chopped my variegated micans. These are only some of the props. This was growing on the wall behind me. And I decided I wanted to restart it. So I have so many props of this plant now. Like, look how cute that leaf is. I can't wait to get her restarted. I'll probably do like a big bushy pot and let it grow. And then I have some more props on the table. I probably have like another 10 propagations or so. And then I had some wet stick nodes. So I have that in a little thing of water. And then the bottom shelf is all alocasia. I actually took my dragon scale and my silver dragon. I had 2 of those in soil because I had taken them out of pond. I'm like, I'm gonna try and grow them in soil. And they just weren't doing the best. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna grow them back in pond. And so I have 2 dragon scale elbows and then the silver dragon in the middle down there. And then I have a couple of polys. I have a pink and then a Thai version that is kind of reverting. And then I have another black velvet stump down there behind that one. But once some of these alocasia get big, I'm going to eventually have to take them out like I did with my venom, because once they get to a certain point, it's really hard to grow them in here because they take over. This pink shan is so pretty. Look at that leaf. She is stunning. The newest one is all pink. And then I have that little leaf and this one over here. It is beautiful. So far it's been really easy going. I have it in a tiny thing of pond like that. And I do have a few corms growing from her. Oh yeah, Cindy, if you're watching this, I think I got this from you in the mail. She sent me a little Monstera thing. Look how cute that is. I put it in the cabinet here. Thank you for that. You were so sweet. I meant to email you that I got it, but if you're watching this, I did get it and it's so cute. I love it so much. So it's just hanging up in here. So that is everyone in the cabinet. I really want another Milsbo in here. I had mentioned I thought about moving this Milsbo to the back wall over here. I love this shelf, but then I don't love it because it's hard to grow plants on here because they get so big, and I don't know. I have a love-hate relationship with that shelf back there, but I thought about moving the Milsbo to that wall and I even thought about getting 2 and just grow like a bunch of alocasias. I just love the IKEA Milsbos. I just feel like everything that I put in here pretty much grows amazingly until I have to move them out. You know, I had the Amazonicas both in there, the pink Amazonicas here, and I had to move them out. She is gorgeous. Look at this leaf. I still can't get over this huge leaf back here. Let me come on the side so you can see them a little better. Look at this leaf. Look how long and daggery that is. Isn't that crazy? So I have one back here. This one was the bigger one with this beautiful half moon leaf, and that's the newest one. So ever since I moved them out of the cabinet, I kind of had them in front and they weren't really getting a ton of light. So I felt like I kind of neglected them a bit. I felt bad about that. So I added just a small clip light here this weekend, and it's going to give them a little bit more light. And then I have this one over here. This one's getting ready to push a new leaf, and then one of the older leaves is starting to yellow off. Ideally, I would love to put those somewhere else because they're kind of in the way of the closet now, but they're gonna stay here for now until I propagate and rearrange more in here. Especially once I get this table out of here. Like, look at all these propagations. There's so many monsteras. They're all pushing like 2 or 3 leaves now. So hopefully I can clear all this off this month. Next, let me go ahead and show you this wall because there's not a ton of changes, but I did do one big thing, which is I took down the begonia terrarium. So you guys remember I made a video on a terrarium and I had some like begonia in there, and 2 of them weren't really doing that hot, and so I took them out. One of them is rehabbing, the fuzzy pink one, the pink urchin. I have 2 little propagations in that middle glass vessel, and then the other 2 are on the left of it in the other acrylic. So I cut a bunch of propagations in there in this right here. They were looking a little bit droopy. Some of them are still a little bit droopy, but I put them in stratum and perlite, and this will keep in a little bit more humidity. So I'm gonna start a plant back of each one of those. And I actually have more propagations of this one in the other room. But hopefully I at least get a couple cuttings that survive. And then this one, it seems to be growing back to the pink urchin. So hopefully that one does well. That one definitely needs like higher humidity. I'll probably set that terrarium back up. I like broke it down and cleaned it and everything and washed it out really good. I'll get it set up somewhere, but I probably won't actually make a terrarium out of it. I'll probably just sit plants in there that need a little bit more humidity and use it as like a decorative thing rather than trying to make it into a terrarium. Up top are my pink snow cap. This is Mama here, and this is a propagation I took from her. So she's starting to grow now. She's so pretty. I love her so much. And then I have my white ice there on that side. And then on the bottom is the newer begonia that I got, the Rouge variegated. It's down there on the left. That one is doing well since I put it in here. And then the other one is the pink maculata. I actually think I'm going to chop her. I might do that very soon. Actually, I might do that later today. And I want to go ahead and prop and hopefully get some better variegation to come in. I would say mine's like more low variegation. So I got this pink maculata. Has it been 6 months? I got it sometime over the summer. And she has like so many growth points now. She has some leaves that are more pink than others, like that one right there. And this is a newer leaf that has some pretty pink right here. And she's got some over here that have a little bit of pink. I was hoping to like have more pink. So I'm thinking I might chop her back to like, I don't know, she has 3 vines in here. But I might chop like 2 of them like all the way back and leave one a little bit longer. And this pink maculata has been fairly easy, but also it dries very quickly. So I think I want to upsize the base. So I have this one also in my IKEA cabinet. I just took it out this weekend. So it dries very quickly in there. And it also drops leaves quite a bit, I noticed. Like the new growth will sometimes get crunchy, and then the leaf will be just crinkled up in the bottom layer of the cabinet. It'll just fall off. And I'm thinking it's probably an underwatering issue. I don't know what else it could be, why it would keep dropping leaves like that. I feel like every time I notice it, she's thirsty or I have to water her. So maybe she'll stop that once now that I have her out of the cabinet. Like, look, this one here, there's a piece here. They just like fall off. They don't even open all the way. It's not focusing. So we'll see how it goes, but I am going to prop her. So I'll film that and do that one with you so I can have propagations. And then I also want to hopefully promote more pink because I want more leaves like this one, that one there, because the pink is so pretty. But yeah, she's a beautiful begonia. Also, let me know if you want a begonia collection video. I have more begonia this isn't all my begonia, but now this is technically a begonia shelf. Maybe in a few weeks, I can maybe film a begonia collection and give you an update on her because I do want to chop her very soon. And other than that, like I said, I already took down the micans that was kind of clinging onto the wall there. The monsteras, there's been no updates with those. I'm going to chop monstera jungle mint after I take care of most of these monstera propagations. I really want to wait until spring. So maybe I'll see how it's looking like end of March/April, but I do want to chop her all the way back to where she has more mint on her. She has pretty much, I would say, almost reverted. The newest leaf actually has a secondary fenestration. I noticed that the other day. I actually took her to the shower and hosed her off as well. She was so big to get in there, but look, I have a little fenny right here. But this leaf is so big. It's crazy how big this leaf is. But that is so cute. I love that she gave me a secondary split. So yeah, she will get chopped soon. And then the one that is more full mint, I'm gonna let her grow. And Manjula is still back there. I haven't done anything else with her since I extended it, but I'll eventually chop that one and probably replant 2 strands in the pot. And I haven't done anything with these guys over here. The big monstera that's in the corner, I do want to upsize this plant, hopefully in the spring as well. I want to get the next size up. I would say, I mean, her leaves are still pretty big, but I feel like if I upsize her, she'll grow a little bit better for me. I took Sorderoy to the shower and hosed that plant off. It was so sticky. And then I moved little Adansonii down here, my OG Adansonii. Let me give you an update on that one. I potted Adansonii in here on a plant care day video I did recently. So there's 2 vines. I ended up cutting the one, and so the vine that I cut is shooting a new growth point right there. And this one, I think this one might be a new leaf right here, but I had mixed the pon with a ton of perlite, and I think I'm going to start doing that more. This is my DIY pon here, which I do really like the consistency, but I was running out, so that's why I added a ton of perlite. But I do really like the perlite in here, and I feel like it's still staying pretty moist, and there's some new roots growing in right here. I definitely used a bigger pot than I should have with her, but that's okay. She'll grow into it. So yeah, that is my Adansonii. She's doing well. And then I have Marble Queen still here, and then Cebu Blue. I still have to switch that stake out and repot that one. I didn't take care of that one this weekend, but I will eventually. The growth point has now activated, so I need to do it probably in the next couple of weeks. So I'll get that done eventually here. Before I move on to that shelf and the back corner, let me go ahead and do the shelf here by the window, and then I can move the table and stuff out of the way. Over here on the end is my Monstera aurea that I had potted back up. I did that with you too, and her first little leaf is so fenestrated. This was my big aurea that I had growing pretty tall, and I had propagated her and stuck her in here, and without really any roots, and that's why these leaves have all browned. But now that she's steady and growing a ton of roots in here already, hopefully she does better. I actually have a new leaf spike right here, so I'll have a new leaf coming in. But she's a very mature plant already, so she should size up in no time. Just kind of turned around this way. This is my very white special Monstera albo. She's extremely white. I actually got rid of her bottom half. Her bottom half was where the begonia shelf was in this little pot over here. I had a little base, her little chonk, and it actually wasn't growing. It kept spitting all white leaves, and I had chopped it recently Well, I would say a couple months ago, I chopped it and then another node activated, but nothing else was really growing. So I got rid of the base and I kept the top little piece. It's right here. And it's so cute. Look how cute it is. So it doesn't have like any roots really. I just did like a little cutting, but it has the one aerial root. But see, it was spitting all white. Look at those little finnies. And then then it did this one with some more green and then this one here. But this is her like base from her. So she's a very white, very white albo. So I may keep this because she is more sentimental, but I may eventually let it go. We'll see how quickly it grows, because if it spits more white, she's going to be very slow at growing. But hopefully this will grow and do okay. But I had to keep it because it's just so cute. The new leaf here has sized up quite a bit, this one, and then the next leaf looks to be pretty white. But I'm gonna have to get her repositioned. She has browned a little bit. I accidentally let her get too dry. And I do have another like growth point down here, right here coming in that had activated down here. So I'll have 2 vines. My original plan was to grow this big like my other one because she is more white. So I'll probably do that, but I definitely need to switch this to a cocoa core pole instead of that little stake. And my pink nobilis is here in the middle. It's the only alocasia at the window. She's very slow to grow, but I do have a new leaf that just came in. She's been blooming nonstop too, but I leave the blooms now. I don't cut them. But you can see her new leaf, how pretty that is. I've grown so many of her babies out. The variegation kind of hardens off to a more muted over time. This one here was like hardly any variegation. And the blooms are variegated as well. It's so cute. But yeah, I just let the blooms do their thing now. I feel like my venom was blooming nonstop there for a bit, and when I go over there, I'll show you the new leaf. It's freaking huge. I always was under the impression that you should cut the blooms, and then when I learned that you shouldn't, I just leave them now, and yeah, I feel like they still do fine with the blooms and everything. But yeah, pink nobilis, a slow grower, but she is beautiful. You know what else I did? Look right here. It's a leaning tower of nursery pots right here. So I have my Monstera Burl Marks Flame. I want to chop her. So what I did was I stuck her aerial roots in this top section in a little thing of water. I need to fill it instead of air layering, because although I like air layering and using moss, sometimes I let it go too long. And when I go to propagate her, I want to stick her directly in pond. So I'm going to grow some water roots, and I actually see some forming right here. And probably in like 2 weeks, once I get some water roots forming off the aerials, I'm going to go ahead and chop her, stick her in pond, and then I'll have like my top cutting, and then I'll chop the rest of the plant up. My flame has gotten pretty big. That newest leaf is so impressive. I love her so much. This Monstera is absolutely just one of my favorites. I just love the leaf shape and everything. I just decided to do that with the water, and you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and maybe do this more often. Maybe I'll just tape a thing of water around some aerial roots where I wanna cut, let them grow some water roots, and then do the chop then. You can see there's a couple of water roots like right there. Oh, UPS is here. I have some plant mail coming. Perfect timing. I was bad, you guys. I ordered some plants, but I was good for 2 months. So yeah, I do have a little bit of water roots right there. And yeah, I have one that isn't reaching the water yet, but I have like 4 or 5 that's actually in the water. So I feel like I don't need a ton, but if I can get a little bit of water roots, then that'll be good. I want to chop like right in here, like right below, I think, where I have the last set of aerial roots. So I'll probably do it like right here somewhere. And then over here on this end is the other Monstera Aria that I have. And then I have a little Dischidia one stripe hanging in the window there. I don't really utilize the hanging bar anymore. I used to have a ton of plants hanging on that, so I'm tempted to take that down. And then I'm not really utilizing much of the window ledge anymore. I had, when I first moved in here, I was hanging a lot of Hoya in the window, and then when sap started dripping on the window ledge, it brought ants in, so I kind of stayed away from putting plants like directly in the window. I do have my pings over there though. Oh, and I do have a little syngonium on that side. It's a syngonium frosted heart. I did actually propagate that one recently this weekend. She looks like that. So I put this one in a thing of stratum and perlite, and I do have some props that I'll make of her, but I just felt like she was getting kind of leggy, kind of tall, and she lost some leaves on the bottom, so I just wanted to restart like a top section. So I'll pot this back up. I actually might put this one in pond when it's time. Let me move this Monstera, and then my pings are right there. I actually have a ton of babies kind of self-growing, and I have like algae and stuff. I might actually take the pings off of there and clean that up a bit. I have some pumice stones in the middle, and maybe just like refreshen the pond. It's all kind of algae filled. And I even thought about getting a few more planters and doing some pings in the window ledge, since I do have all this space and it's pretty good light. So I feel like that is a future project. These two rows are looking a bit bare. Those two propagation trays were from my moss pole, so I do need to take plants out of there and work on potting them up. So I'll get those put into the other room here. Hi, Luna. Hi, Luna. Hi. Are you wanting to get up in the window? Don't hurt yourself. Come here. You want in the window? They never are allowed in here unless I'm in here, because the door's always gated off. So whenever they can come in here, they always want to get like in the window. And that's another reason I leave it bare too, is because I know when the sun's out, they like to, if I'm in here, they want to sit in the sunshine. Hi, pretty girl. The plants are in the way. Hello. Here is my top cutting of my silver sword. This was a propagation that I had saved because I had grown this plant out before, and I ended up selling off the top cut. I do kind of miss that top cut because the leaves had gotten pretty big on it. And so I'm like, you know what, I'll just let that one go and then restart one from a propagation, which this one has now grown to be like pretty big. So I just chopped her this weekend. So I have it again in a thing of stratum and perlite. And once I get some roots, I will pot her back into pond. But I love the variegated silver sword. She's so pretty. I love the coloring. It's different than like stark white, like with Aria variegation. This one's more of like a creamy color, and I really love her. She's so pretty. So yeah, once this roots, I will get it planted back up. I had it growing in pond, and it seems to do well in pond. I just make sure not to have it sit like too wet, like I don't fill the reservoir very full at all, because these leaves are thin, but they're not like overly thin. And I use silica pretty consistently too, which I feel like helps make the leaf tissue a little bit stronger. But plants that are more like thin, like the Arias, I noticed, they're just extremely prone to browning, and I still haven't figured out like a good watering routine, because it usually happens right after I fill the reservoir with my Monstera Aria, because when we went out of town, like the one that's over here, I had filled it fuller than normal so that it would last a bit longer, and I came back to a bunch of browning. So I think it just took up the water too quickly. So I'm thinking about just leaving them more on the dry side. So I definitely think it's more of like a watering issue that I'm creating that's causing the browning. I also chopped up my halo micans. So this one was like a bushy plant, and it was growing kind of straggly because I cut it back to make a bunch of propagations so many times. I also have like 5 to 10 propagations of this growing right now, like small plants. So I cut the plant all the way back. So I'm gonna have so many plants of this in the coming months. And I'm going to restart my mother plant back because it was time. Because sometimes when you cut a plant back so much, it just, I don't know. I just feel like for me, I need to restart it at some point, and so that's what I'm gonna do with this one. The Halo Micans has the outer variegation and the really thin leaves. I think the Halo Micans is so cool. I love like the leaf shape and everything. So pretty. So I'll start this back again. I also finally potted up my philodendron gigas. In the update video, I was like, I still had it in water, and that's a new leaf and that's a new leaf. Well, this one was a new leaf that had gotten stuck while it was like in water. So I don't know if this one will ever fully look normal. I don't know if it'll ever get like that, but this one here should. But again, I put this one in the same thing as my Monstera adansonii, my DIY pond with a bunch of perlite. And so far so good. So yeah, I guess I'm gonna grow my gigas back. And you guys are gonna laugh at me. In my shop room, I have like 2 bins of plants that you guys haven't seen in my collection for a bit, but I'm like holding them because some of them are my last propagations. And I haven't fully like downsized them, even though I said I was going to. Like I still have a Monstera obliqua in there. I have a couple philodendron, some Hoya. Yeah, I don't know. I have issues, you guys. I have issues. Come over here. Chico, room. You're so cute. And then you guys saw my philodendron verrucosum recently, right there. It's just kind of growing wild. And then I have my other carnivorous plants in that little container. The plants in there are doing very well. The Drosera in the middle was dormant, but it's growing back in full force. That one is the newest one I got, that cutie right there. He's so cute. And then I have a couple others, but there's so many like blooms up top. So that one's doing pretty well. I haven't like cleaned this in a while, but maybe I should clean this one up as well. Oh, you know what? It actually needs some water. It's looking pretty dry. Did I add water in this one this weekend? Maybe I forgot. I may have forgot. I need to do that today. Add some water. But it's cute. They're cool plants. All right, this corner. Who is missing? There used to be a big plant right here. My philodendron El Choco Red is gone. Well, it's not gone, it's just I chopped it. I just couldn't take it this weekend. You know, it had bloomed all last year and it wasn't growing any new leaves until December. It finally, or even November, it finally spit a leaf out and it was kind of deformed. And then last month it spit another new leaf out. So I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and chop it. But I just wanted to propagate it and regrow it. So that's what I did. I actually have the top cutting here that I have not stuck in water yet. Do you see that little stem right there? Right there. So the base is so thick, the trunk, and I have had it callousing now for 3 days. Yeah, today is day 3 because I did it on Saturday. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. No, today is day 4. And it's actually time to get it in water. Do you see how droopy it is? But I wanted to make sure that this was calloused over because it's so thick. So that's where I made the incision, and then it's going to grow in some new roots. So she's looking a bit droopy right now, but as soon as I get her in water, she'll perk up. But that's the newest one. I kind of miss her because she was so huge, but it was time to chop her. It really was. So let's go ahead and put her in a thing of water down here. Oh, this is heavy. So we'll let her root up and I'll stick her back in pond once she roots. It's a little sad that she's a bit droopy now, but it had to be done because I didn't want this to rot at all. Because I think that's what I did with my adansonii, or the issue when I potted it up. It had started rotting because I don't think I let it callus long enough. I was gonna chop this one on camera with you guys, but I decided not to because I know some of you probably don't like when I chop these big, beautiful plants back, but I like restarting them, and then I can grow a ton of propagations from doing that. I let them grow and then I chop it, and I can make a ton of baby plants. I think I probably have 10 chunks at least. And some of the chunks are freaking huge, you know? And once those grow, I can restart and list a bunch of baby El Chocos. But yeah, I'm still gonna grow her. This leaf might get a little bit yellow or affected, but once she roots up and I plant her back up, she's gonna grow again in no time. When I put this plant in pond, I filmed it how long has it been? I think it's been a couple years. It was so small and it grew to be a huge plant in no time. So she'll get big again in no time. I'll be excited to see her at the end of the year. Boop. She's pretty though. She'll perk up once she gets some hydration. She'll just be looking a little sad down there. And then I was able to rearrange this corner a little bit. So massive Michelitziana. You guys remember when I chopped her and she kind of went downhill, and now she's back to a big beautiful plant again, except she keeps getting spider mites. I did a full mite treatment though, but like I said, I am going to take her to the shower again this weekend and hose her down again. The biggest tell I have is with new leaves. If I see them on new leaves, then I know like she still has some. I actually used Azamax. I actually used to use it back in the day before I kind of quit using pesticides, and I thought it was pretty effective. So I blasted her front and back. Let it drip dry and air dry, and yeah, I'll do another treatment to hopefully kill off any eggs that potentially could hatch. I know it's not like the strongest miticide, and there's others I could probably get that would probably knock out eggs as well, but I didn't want to use anything super harsh, and yeah, I just had used that before, so that's what I went with this time. So hopefully they're gone here soon. Look at this beautiful Tycon. So this is my OG Tycon that I grew from a node, a little wet stick back in the day. I remember getting this Tycon for that little wet stick node. It cost $95 back on Facebook Marketplace back in the day. This was like 2021 or something. And that's the top cut that I had initially propagated, and then I put it in here. Again, same thing happened with this one with my Aria. It had started rotting, so I took it out, water rooted it, planted it in pond, and it has now grown 3 leaves in a short amount of time since I did that. I feel like she has pretty good color, like the creaminess. That's the newest one, and then that's the original one, the original leaf that I propagated back here. And then that was this was the first leaf that it spit out, a little bit smaller, and then that one over there. And then this is the newest one. So I have a feeling she is going to be the Monstera for this year. She is going to, honestly, I'll probably let her grow where El Choco was and let her take over this area. And she's going to be humongous by the end of the growing season. I can see it already. I honestly can't wait because I saw those mature ties when we were out of town on vacation, and they were beautiful, especially the one that was in that plant shop. It was just gorgeous, and I want those huge leaves with Tycon. So I'm excited now that she's officially in pond, because that's the reason I propagated her, was to grow her in semi-hydro. I'm excited to see how she does for me, but I love her so much. And then beside the Tycon, I put one of my Albo Regal Shields. They're both like reverting again. I know this alocasia is very prone to it. I'm honestly tempted to get a different specimen from somebody, just buy a different one that has different genetics and see if it behaves differently. So I might do that for this year. I might get one with different genetics. I love Regal Shields, but I really want one that maintains the variegation. So yeah, I have this one and then another one in the shop room that is growing all green again. Or the variegation is very muted, like you can barely see it. But yeah, that one is there. And then I do have a grow light right here that's kind of shining on those. And then I have a grow light that kind of shines on Michelitziana right here in front. And you guys are familiar with my Syndapsis. This is kind of like my Syndapsis wall. I have the variegated jade satin on the wall there, and I have my regular green jade satin. I love the dark leaves, and then I have my huge Exotica up there. I took those down and gave them a good hose off as well. They really needed it. They were They were getting a little dusty because I have to use a step stool to get up to reach the Exotica. Oh, I did get a new Syndapsis, what is it called? I think it starts with an M. I actually have it over on this shelf. It's like right down there. I'll show you when we get over there. But yeah, let's go ahead and do this shelf here. And as you can see, some of my plants that were in my IKEA cabinet, like my Venom here, are now living on the shelf. So it's not going to get as much light. I do have this bar up top. That bar light is now going on 4 years old, so I know the light quality probably isn't what it used to be. But I feel like the plants that are still under there grow fairly well. So I'll see how it does in the spot now. I think the blooms had all fallen. I think there might be one bloom left, like right here. But post bloom, it gave me this huge leaf right here. Like, it's so elongated too. Like, look how funky that is. It's so cool. I love this alocasia so much. I mean, she's like a big bushel. Like, look how fluffy she is. Let me back away. Right? Like, she's so pretty. Such a beautiful alocasia. I just love her so much. One of the happiest and easiest growing alocasias for me, hands down. And she's not like a spider mite magnet for me. The leaves are pretty thick, so that's a good thing. But yeah, hands down, no words. I love her. And then I moved the pink poly that was in the cabinet here. This is on my upsize list, so I think when I do the alocasia video, I'll get her upsized. She really needs it, but she has really good color. I had one before this one that was kind of reverting, but all the leaves on her are pretty variegated. Even the blooms, she started blooming for me too. Even the blooms are like variegated. But I love her. I have a few babies of her growing, but I'll probably find more corms because it's been a while since I dug in there. But yeah, she definitely needs an upsize, but she is so pretty. So this alocasia here up top is the Yucatan Princess, and it's one that I'm considering downsizing. The variegation, again, it kind of does that muted thing. I don't know if you can really see. She does spit some very beautiful variegated leaves. She is a pretty like big plant, I will say. I underwatered her a bit, and so two of her, I think her last set of oldest leaves yellowed. And then I do have a new one here that's kind of like a half and half. But she's one that has a bit of a thinner leaf, so she is more prone to spider mites. She has gotten spider mites before, but I don't really love her as much as I thought I would, so I might be looking to downsize her. I have one of the Bambinos that's, I didn't chop this one, but I had chopped my other one, so I might chop her once I pop my other one back up. She's spitting some all pink leaves, and then she has some pretty variegated leaves. But I had that one in my cabinet. She just got too big for it. Another plant I chopped this weekend was my Red Anderson. Oh, let me take it out of here. So I did not realize she was getting such big leaves up top. Like, look how pretty that is. Has a light pink variegation. Here's another leaf with the pretty color. She's a really beautiful plant. I love all the tones there. And that one. And look how pink that stem is. She's now in caterpillar. So I decided to go ahead and chop her because she was starting to lean, and I have her bottom. Actually, I haven't chopped her all the way up yet. This is actually her bottom. But that's where I chopped, so this was like connected onto here, but she was starting to lean and I didn't want her to fall. So what I'm going to do is chop this all the way up. I'm not going to keep this, and just do wet stick node propagations like I did with my Pink Princess last year. So that's what I'll do with this one. I didn't want to chop it up yet because I'm getting like overrun with propagations. So once I take care of some, I will chop this one up. I do have a few wet stick nodes that are currently growing. But yeah, I'll chop this up and then I will restart the top here once she actually roots up. I love my Pink Princesses, but I almost really love the coloring on the Red Anderson. Maybe even a little bit more, I don't know. I really like the pink, like the lighter pink, but I love my Pink Princesses because They're so pink. And then yeah, the tortum there, like I said, that one is going outside. And then I have my regular dragon's breath heterophylla. This one here is growing back. Look at these huge daggery leaves. They're so huge. I have so many corms of this plant growing right now. I had separated her, you know, because she was huge at one point. So yeah, she is growing back. This shelf, I have some syngonium. I chopped these all the way back. I have so many syngonium propagating right now. This is the Batik Albo variegated, like that. And then I have my regular syngonium albo. And then I have my chia pence variegated. I have so many propagations of this one. This was the bottom chunk that was mostly all green, but the propagations are pretty white growing. And I have another node in here that's growing. So this one I'll probably let grow, and then I'll probably restart one of the propagations that's growing a lot of white as well. I don't love syngonium as much anymore. I won't be getting like any new syngonium in my collection. They are spider mite magnets for me, so I have to check constantly because I feel like they're a thin leafed plant. I don't know if I'll end up downsizing, but I may consider potting these up together, like my syngonium albo with the Batik, and just do a combo pot. I do like these plants, but they're not my favorite genus. But I definitely won't get like any new syngonium in my collection. Here in the middle, I moved my Gloriosum variegated. This is type 2. I had it on the begonia shelf on the floor, and I feel like you could barely see it. And now that she's up here, you can see all these beautiful leaves on her. I have her in a thing of pot, and she's actually growing. She's growing off the pot now that you can see her stem. Like that. I may actually prop her soon since I have a little bit of overage. I may consider that. Her leaves get stuck a lot for me. Like this one here was a new one that got stuck. And so this one here is probably going to get stuck. Even in pon, I feel like her leaves get stuck quite often. But I feel like this one has a really good color, like really good genetics. Like all the leaves have so much cream, and I've gotten a couple that are fully albo. She has a really, really good color. So yeah, I'll probably get her chopped at some point. And then this middle shelf is my OG strawberry shake, and look how pretty she is, you guys. This was a node that I had growing. I had mentioned I didn't realize I had one still left, and she grew back from a little wet stick, and she's too pretty to let go, so I'm gonna keep her. But I love her coloring. She's a little sticky because I had sprayed her with a pest treatment. But look at that color. I do probably need to upsize her though because she's in a tiny pot. She is so pretty. I'm happy I kept her because I love like pink plants now. I'm obsessed, and she's getting like some sun stressing, I feel like, but she's so pretty. Okay, here's a better view of her. Like, look at those colors, right? She's so pretty. Strawberry shake. I love the daggery thing that she's doing with her leaves too. They're like elongated. And then here's the Syndapsis here. This is Mayuri variegated. And so I got her as a tiny propagation, and then that's the new leaf that she did right here. I love Syndapsis, and I don't know what prompted me. Oh, you know what happened? That's why I got this one. I was ordering a Hoya, and sometimes when I'm on somebody's shop and I'm just getting one plant, I will peruse what they have available, and if there's something else that I'm interested in, I'm like, I might get to, I usually end up getting another plant just to make up for like shipping costs and everything. And this is the one that I had added on, but I'm glad I have her because I do like Syndapsis, and it's nice to have one that has like a more white variegation, I guess. So she is cute. I did get rid of a couple plants in here. I propagated the no, not the Jose Bueno, the, what is that philodendron? Paraiso Verde, that's what it was. So I'm going to downsize that plant, and then I put Esqueleto back here. I'm just gonna let it kind of cling onto the wall right here for now and let it do its thing. Let me move this pink princess right here. I was considering downsizing this one, but I decided to keep it. And this is one of my pink princesses that's growing back. This one is so pink. Like, look at that. That is insane. I was worried she was going full pink for a minute because she did like that one and then that one. And then her newest one is another half moon. But she is crazy variegated. I love her so much. And then the other one I have as well over here that is just as pink. I'm gonna let them both grow a little bit more because I still have quite a few plants that I'm growing out. And then I'm thinking about, since she's more pink, I might let her grow and then chop the other one back. She's right here, but I don't know because I like this one too. This one's actually a little bit taller now. Like, they're both so pretty. That's a new leaf on her. So I don't know. I feel like this one has more balanced color, so I feel like this will be a good candidate to propagate because I'm worried that one might become more pink, but then I don't know. I don't know. I like them both. But I'll probably do this one, let that one grow, and then I'll probably, honestly, what I'll probably do is just keep the top cut. That's what I usually do. I keep the top cut, let it regrow, and then cut the entire plant up, and then it regrows. I cut the top cut, replant it, and same process. That way I can continually create a bunch of baby plants. So that is her. And then the only other ones that are here are my Christmas cactus and Thanksgiving cactus, and then my caramel marble. This is the Christmas cactus. This one hasn't bloomed, but it's spitting out a ton of growth. Oh, wait, there's blooms. Oh, those weren't there recently. I have little blooms coming in. Look at that. Oh, that's exciting. They look like they're gonna be a pink color. Oh, that's so cool. Why is this one blooming? It's been more cool in my plant room. Like right now it's only 71, but at night with the colder temps, we got snow a little bit the other day. It didn't last very long. It was like all gone the next day because the sun was out. And it's been getting like 60s in here, like mid 60s. And I think the cooler temps are making these guys get bloom because the variegated Thanksgiving cactus actually bloomed. They've been like dying, like the bloom spikes are just falling off, but she had a few of them actually open up. They're like going now. So I was able to see some of the blooms at least. But I am going to propagate both of these soon. I'm going to take some clippings because several of you had asked about this one if I was going to propagate it, and I am. Once I kind of take care of some other propagations, I will propagate some to make some small plants. So yeah, I will do that, but I'm happy at least that I got to see her bloom. Look, and some of these blooms are just falling off. Let's see. Yeah, these are all gone here. Yeah, she was up a little bit higher, but I decided to move her to the bottom. That way she can dangle off the shelf onto the floor a little bit, like right here, instead of like in the way of the other plants. And then last up is caramel marble. She's actually going to bloom. So I had taken her to the shower to hose off all the sticky sap. Look how huge she is. She's so pretty. And I noticed she was getting a lump, a bump, and she's gonna bloom right here. Do you see? Which is so cool that I'm gonna have a bloom on her. That's exciting. I love this plant so incredibly much. Definitely one of my favorite philodendrons for sure. She might be my favorite philodendron. It's hard sometimes to pick. But I love this one and she's been so easy. I will eventually prop her because I feel like she would make some really good babies, but I'm gonna let her grow more. If I do prop her, it'll probably be like later this year and I'll replant the top cut and let her keep growing. She is getting a little bit big, but I have a grow light, like she's growing up, so her leaves are more up rather than like more wide. So she's taking up a little bit less space. But I don't want her to get like crazy big. I think I would like to go ahead and propagate her at some point here. So maybe later this year, but I'm gonna let her keep growing a little bit longer. If there's a plant missing, it's probably in the other room. minus all the Hoyas and Anthurium because they have their own like dedicated area. And now my bedroom and bathroom are mostly like Maranta and stuff in there, Calathea. I have been slowly downsizing some plants, and then chopping plants back to be a more manageable size makes me feel better. I love seeing the process of growing them out, but I love like cutting them back and restarting them and watching them grow again. I have ordered some plants too, so I think maybe I have some plants that aren't here yet. I did just get a delivery, so I'm not sure exactly what came today, but I do have more plants coming. But maybe I'll film like a new plant haul maybe next month or so, once I get the plants all in and I see kind of how they adjust and do. I'll fill you in on that. I actually ordered some propagation bins, some bigger ones that I'm going to have as like quarantine bins. I've been using those little acrylics, but they're not big enough. And I want to secure a grow lay on them on the inside. That way I can just shut the bin, put them in there and let them quarantine for about 6 weeks before I introduce them into like my plant room here. So yeah, I will film that maybe sometime next month. So yeah, I think I might go ahead and chop my pink begonia and I'll film that. So that'll probably be the next video after this one. And then I have to figure out the rest of my videos for this month. I think I will go film a shopping video next week, a big box, because I kind of want to go out and browse, especially since I looked at all those plants in Hawaii. I want to go and see what, I haven't been, I feel like, did I go? I feel like it's been before Christmas. Did I go after Christmas? Or maybe it was like early, no, I don't think I did. I don't remember now, but it's been at least like 6 weeks or so since I've been. I think I'll go out and film that next week, and then I'll see and do more propagating and stuff with you for this month. So it should be a good month filming wise. And yeah, I'm just going to work on making a ton of plants behind the scene and doing my restocks and everything. But yeah, thank you so much for watching and hanging out with me. I hope you enjoyed the update. And yeah, I will talk to you guys again here soon.